Kia ora. My name is James. I'm 23, and as you can probably tell from the title of this video, this summer I'll be walking Te Araroa, or at least the length of the South Island. So for those who don't know, Te Araroa is a through hike or a long trail here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. It's our one and only through hike, and it's been around for about 15 years now, I think. It's typically split up into two sections, although a lot of people walk the full section. So the first half starts in Cape Reinga, walks all the way to the bottom of the North Island. That's north of the north, the south of the north, in Wellington. And then the South Island leg, you start off in Picton and walk to Bluff. So I'll be walking just the South Island section starting mid-November is the plan. Walking for, I don't know, maybe a couple of months, 2.5 months, depending on how quickly I go. This video is an outline of my plans, sort of why I'm doing it, and what you can expect from me over the course of the adventure. So why am I doing it? It's a pretty long time to be away from civilization. I've lived in a big city for my entire life. I've called Auckland, Tamaki Makaurau, my home for the last couple of decades. And a few years ago I really picked up on a passion for tramping, or hiking as everyone else seems to call it. And the ultimate tramp here in New Zealand really is Te Araroa, the long pathway. The first proper long distance hike I did was 4 days around the Traverse Sabine circuit down in the Nelson Lakes area. And the first day or so, a couple of days of that, is along Te Araroa. And I remember getting into a hut or a backcountry cabin for those who aren't aware at the end of the first night, and running into this German guy. He'd been walking his way up from the south. He was thin, he was hungry, he was tired, but he had such a big smile on his face, and I thought that sounded like something I would want to do. So I'm walking it not only to see the sights of my own beautiful country, but also in support of a great cause. My research, I just finished up, or I'm just about to finish up my studies here in Auckland, has been all about housing and different methods that have been used to try and solve this housing crisis we've got here in New Zealand and around the world. And one key part of that is transitional or social housing. And so this is housing provided by community trusts and charities to help people who are homeless into secure, affordable, and ultimately safe housing. And so I'm really excited to be able to support the Island Child Charitable Trust out in Tamaki in Auckland. So for those who don't know, Island Child Charitable Trust provides this transitional housing, and they provide wraparound support for those homeless families in need of support. And I've been out to visit them. They're absolutely wonderful, and frankly they deserve every cent they can get. My goal is to raise about $1,300, so $1 for every kilometre I walk along the trail. And I've got a link to the Give a Little down in the description of this video. Alright, so that's sort of why I'm doing it, and also for the challenge. Can't forget that one. So some initial thoughts. Pretty excited right now. It's about a month out. I'm furiously writing away. I've got my thesis to finish, which I probably should be writing now. Got assignments, have exams to do. So there's a lot to distract me. But it's certainly in the back of my mind, and that's a really big wasp. Anyway, so although I'm pretty excited, I'm also a little nervous as expected. I'm starting a little early. Usually people start the trail either if you're going from the bottom of the South Island, you'll start early January, or if you're going from the top of the North Island, you'll start sort of mid-late October. And if you do the math on that, that'll put you in Picton, where I'm starting, sort of early December if you're starting from the north. So I'm starting mid-November, so that's sort of a couple weeks or 2 or 3 weeks out of kilter. And what that'll mean is that my early weeks might be a little colder and wetter than typical, and that'll fall in the Richmond Ranges and the Nelson Lakes, which are two of the more sort of gnarly sections. When I do my gear video, which is probably one I'll put up after this, you'll see how I'm sort of planning to get around that. So a little nervous, mostly excited, and really looking forward to it. I try and hike or tramp as much as I can, and it's really awesome to be able to say I'll be doing at least 2 months in a row of that. Fingers crossed. Alright, So how I'm planning to sort of keep things updated on this channel and on my other sort of social media. So my plan is at this stage, fingers crossed, to upload sort of daily videos over on Instagram when I've got cell service about how the trail is going and with some more personal updates on how things are. There'll be long stretches where I'll be out of cell service, so it might be in bursts, but that's to keep things ticking on especially on the fundraising side of things. And I've taken my camera with me. I've got a Sony ZV-1 which I've filmed a couple of videos with already that'll be coming out shortly, and throwing myself into the world of video making, although that's not easy. And my goal is to make sort of a trail film of my experience on Te Araroa, something a la Alina Osborne or Jupiter Hikes. I'm really inspired by those guys, but also a backcountry Kiwi. I love his stuff, and I'll put those videos down in the description for those who might be interested. Cool. And feel free to put any questions in the comments that you might have about my trip, about the fundraising, about Island Child Charitable Trust. I'll do my best to answer those or direct them to people who can. Yeah, so ultimately I'm super excited. I'm a bit of a gear nerd, so I've been furiously acquiring gear on the cheap. I've got my pack here, which is not quite fully loaded. I've got some of the stuff in here. I've got my nice blue Be Safe Be Seen Xped FlexMat Plus sleeping pad. It's a Fuel and Outdoors pack. I've got a whole video coming out about my gear that I'm planning to take. I'm going pretty ultralight on this one for the interest of weight savings, which is kind of against the ethos of many New Zealand trampers. Interested to see how people react out on trail. I'm not going that ultralight. I'm not like the guys who can make do with just a 30 litre pack. This is like 50 or 45 plus 5 I think it is, or 45 plus 10 litres. I'm looking forward to talking more about that later. And yeah, I mean, feel free to let me know if you have any sort of content you'd like to see me make. Currently my plans are just the daily uploads or frequent uploads over on Instagram. My Instagram's will be down in the description, and a cool little video series here on YouTube. Yeah, thanks. Kia ora, and thanks for watching.